a 10,000-ton Type 055 destroyer with the most firepower in the world, but only one main gun. Is this a design flaw, or a hidden wisdom of modern naval warfare? I am afraid that this question lingers in the minds of many military enthusiasts. When we marvel at the 055 that boasts 12,000 tons of displacement and amazing 112-unit universal vertical launch system, the single PJ-38 single-barrel 130 gun, in the visual indeed formed a strong contrast. And even by some people think that the firepower, barren. However, this is by no means the negligence of the designer. Behind the refraction of the modern naval warfare is the evolution of the shape of the revolution, and the precise grasp of the positioning of the function of weapons and equipment. To understand the choice of 055, we must go back to the evolution of naval warfare weapons. In the old days, when huge ships and cannons dominated the sea, battleships dominated the sea with their heavy armor and huge cannons. But the smoke of World War II completely rewrote the rules. Carrier-based aircraft will be effective radius of attack violently expanded to more than 300 kilometers. The maximum range of those battleships only 20-30 kilometers of the main guns, mercilessly swept into the corner of history. The carrier-based aircraft was like a sword hanging over the head, announcing the end of the era of huge guns. After the war, the rise of anti-ship missiles was the final death knell for traditional naval artillery. Modern anti-ship missiles can easily reach hundreds of kilometers, such as Russia's Zircon hypersonic missile range is said to be up to 1,000 kilometers, and China's Hawk 21 hypersonic anti-ship missiles also have a very long range and strong anti-defense capabilities. On the contrary, even the most advanced models of naval guns, the use of conventional shells, are mostly limited to the range of 40-70 kilometers. Even with the rocket boost range extending shells, the limit of range barely exceeds 100 kilometers mark. In the range, power, surprise effectiveness and speed of strike, it is difficult to compete with the missile. So why does the 055 retain this main gun? The answer lies in its irreplaceable tactical flexibility and economy, especially in low-intensity conflicts, maritime standoffs, nearshore fire support, and other diverse mission scenarios. First of all, the modern Navy's adversaries are much more than just the enemy's regular fleet. In the face of rampant piracy, smuggling ships and other asymmetric threats, the use of hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars worth of anti-ship missiles is tantamount to anti-aircraft guns to hit mosquitoes, not only costly, but also political and moral overreaction. At this time, naval artillery, with its moderate firepower, precise and controllable strike effect, has become an ideal tool for the implementation of warning, deterrence, removal and even limited fire suppression. Secondly, in the maritime confrontation between countries that have not formally declared war, but the situation is highly tense, naval artillery plays a key role in the escalation ladder to our country in the Rini Reef and other maritime areas to defend sovereignty action. For example, in the face of attempts to illegally transport construction materials of the Philippine vessels, our response is usually gradual. First, high-frequency warnings, water cannons to drive away. If the other side is determined to provocation, it may be used anti-aircraft machine guns to carry out warning shots, and even the use of naval artillery to carry out a more deterrent effect of the near-miss shooting or direct suppression of fire. Furthermore, in terms of land-based fire support, naval guns have a cost-effective and sustained combat capability that is difficult to match with missiles. Modern war consumes a lot. A missile cost is high, while the shells are relatively cheap. 55 big drive equipped with PJ-38 Type 130mm gun performance is extremely strong. It uses an advanced dual-channel ammunition supply system, according to operational needs, to quickly switch between different types of ammunition. Its theoretical maximum rate of fire up to a staggering 40 rounds per minute. What does this rate of fire mean? Let's compare the Army, a modern artillery battalion equipped with 18 155mm howitzers. If manually loaded, its sustained rate of fire can usually only be maintained at about 2 to 4 rounds per minute, even if equipped with semi-automatic loading machines. The sustained rate of fire is difficult to consistently exceed 10 rounds per minute. From the point of view of the density of the projected firepower per unit of time, the 055's 130 naval gun, in a short period of time, the ability to pour ammunition comparable to or even more than a traditional howitzer battalion's unison firepower. This is not to mention the huge advantage of the gun relying on the ship's advanced radar, optoelectronic systems and fire control computers. It is able to realize the rapid response capability and striking accuracy far beyond the land artillery. 4. Striking near-shore fixed targets, supporting amphibious landing operations or clearing beachhead obstacles. The immediate, accurate, continuous and cost-effective firepower that this lone gun can provide is of inestimable value. The 055's design concept of having only one main gun is made even more sensible by a costly but ultimately unsuccessful case in the U.S. Navy, the Jumbo Walter-class destroyers. After the end of the Cold War, the U.S. Navy once misjudged the future shape of naval warfare, put forward the sea-to-land strategy with the intention of creating a super warship focused on deep strike on land. The Jumbo class was a product of this strategy, with its core firepower being two advanced 155mm gun systems. The problem is that almost the entire design of the ship revolves around these two huge guns, from the unique wave-piercing, inward-sloping hull to the complex, integrated electric propulsion system to its vastly reduced number and depth of the Mk57 Patot tube system. This extreme, all for the main gun, design approach has resulted in the Jumbo Walter class having significant shortfalls in critical area air defense and anti-ship capabilities, calling into question its survivability and value in traditional high-intensity naval warfare. High costs, technical difficulties, and serious deviations in strategic positioning ultimately led to the program being drastically cut back to only 3 ships being built, becoming an expensive lesson for the U.S. Navy. The failure of the Jumbo class, forcing the U.S. Navy to depend on and continue to upgrade the old Arleigh-class destroyers, which from the opposite side of the proof of the 055 design thinking forward-looking, to ensure strong regional air defense, anti-missile, anti-ship and anti-submarine and other core naval warfare capabilities under the premise of the main gun to give its appropriate, practical auxiliary functions, rather than allowing it to dominate. Therefore, the fact that the Type 055 destroyer is equipped with only one PJ-38 130mm gun is by no means a reflection of stinginess in design or insufficient firepower. On the contrary, this is the optimal solution based on in-depth analysis of the shape of modern and future naval warfare, the diversity of combat missions and cost effectiveness. It soberly recognizes that in modern high-intensity naval warfare, missiles are the core force that determines the victory or defeat in naval warfare. The quantity and quality of the vertical hair system, the detection capability of shipboard radar, the level of information warfare, the fleet's ability to work together is the real core of the power of the 10,000 tons of large drive. The role of the ship's gun has been successfully transformed into a multifaceted hand to deal with low-intensity threats, maritime law enforcement, and high-precision and economical fire support to the shore. The seemingly lone 130mm gun, with its superior rate of fire, accuracy and responsiveness, has demonstrated an effectiveness in specific mission areas comparable to that of an Army howitzer battalion. The painful lesson of the Jumbo-class destroyer's overemphasis on land strike capability at the expense of its core naval warfare capability further highlights the rationality of the 055's design philosophy, the pursuit of extreme balance and focus in the configuration of firepower, and the precise investment of resources in the key areas that will determine the success of naval warfare.